Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Okay, but first, yes, that was my head on a table. And it gets even better from here. I'm about to show you the coolest places we visited in Budapest, Cat Cafe, Museum of Illusions, and more. So this is Ruthie, and now let's start. So before we dive into the trip, let's check out this beautiful girl getting ready. Yep, that's me. I was so excited when my host mom told me we were going to Budapest because I love to explore. And this was such an amazing opportunity, Look at those happy faces. I really couldn't wait to get to Budapest. I went on this amazing trip with my host mom and a daughter. And thanks to them, I got the chance to explore so many incredible places, from trying new things to seeing the city in a completely different way. It was such an experience I'll never forget. So here we are in the city, in the streets of Budapest, and look at these stunning buildings. Every corner feels like a scene from a movie. And then we finally arrived at the Cat Cafe. I absolutely love this place. So beautiful, full of adorable cats, and it actually changed my perception about cats because I'm not a fan of cats before, but honestly, this place is so stunning. Look at me stepping down the staircase inside the cafe. I'm heading to the bathroom. And yes, look at those pictures on the walls. Like, it's so cute, so relaxing. So as I was heading to the bathroom, I couldn't help but notice the walls covered with pictures and frames of the most beautiful cats. See, every corner of the cafe celebrate this little four balls, and it just made the whole experience even more magical. Then I found this corner inside the cafe, all made with beautiful wooden furniture, and it was so comfortable. This kind of spot, anyone could just sit and relax. And of course, the cats were roaming freely all around, adding so much life and charm to the place. Honestly, it felt like the perfect little hideaway. And then I spotted this gorgeous cat roaming around, so beautiful and elegant. After that, I sipped on my coffee. So after that, we were served coffee, and check this out. They even had to decorate it with a little cat design on top of it, and it was really beautiful. It was a perfect touch. And honestly, moments like this made me fall in love with the place even more. So after the cat cafe, we headed to the Museum of Illusions, and wow, it was absolutely incredible inside. Right here, the illustrator was explaining how everything worked and even asked me to try one of the illusion tables. There was also so many amazing spots inside the museum, frames on the walls. And yes, I have to mention that Budapest looked absolutely stunning. Like the night view, the city lights, the architecture, the vibe, everything. It was magical. It's truly a city that comes alive at night. So the next day we visited this amazing science center. I can't really remember the exact name. And it was so much fun. I even got to participate in a particular experiment for the first time. Look at me dressing up and learning hands-on. It felt like being a scientist for the day. Such an amazing experience.
Once we did this at home with egg. With egg, and we turn hot water, and then turn.
So one of my favorite exhibits was this huge transparent drum filled with water. You use a steel wheel to control the flow. You wind it again and again, and then the water erupts in the most beautiful, mesmerizing way. Honestly, it was such a fascinating experience. I could have stayed there for hours, for days. One of my favorite parts, the coolest exhibit, was this huge frame of a bird on the wall. At first, it looked plain and almost invisible on the wall, But when I looked through this massive microscope, the bird came to life. Like you see beautiful colors, bursting with beautiful colors. It was incredible seeing how perspective can completely change what you notice. And now here's the moment you don't want to miss at the Museum of Illusions. I stepped into this illusion table and suddenly my head appeared all alone on the table. My body wasn't visible at all. It looked so wild. So I would say so crazy and kind of scary, but in the most fun way anyways. So yeah, this is the Museum of Illusions outside, and looking at the building, simple on the outside, but trust me, magic was inside. And inside every corner we had something new to discover. One of my favorite spots was this light quality studio where you sit at a certain angle, and when someone takes your picture from outside, it creates this really cool illusion, and it honestly felt like stepping into another world. Then we moved on to the exhibition on the wall. You can see it caught my attention, especially the two hands holding each other. It looks so real, so fascinating, like you could almost feel the connection through the frame. The Museum of Illusions really lives up to its name, and that's what makes it so special. And then there was this next exhibition. I don't know what to call it. It looks like a rose, but round, sealed inside glass, glowing red. As you can see it, it was so fascinating. I literally stood there and just staring at it for a few seconds. And you can see more frames on the wall, and this spinning illusion on the walls, you could turn it yourself. And once it starts moving like this, it just keeps going round and round. Honestly, if you stare at it too long, you almost lose yourself. Like, that's how powerful these illusions are. And then we came across this big glowing installation with different shapes, almost like a giant ball made of light. You could actually walk in from behind and stand inside to take pictures, but I didn't get the chance. I only captured how it looked from outside, and honestly, you can see it was so beautiful, especially with the light shining through it. Next was this yellow and red frame, and when you move closer to it, it starts spinning round and round, just like the previous one. Then I came across something called the shepherd illusion, first identified by cognitive scientist Roger Shepherd. It shows two boxes, as you can see at first glance. One looks longer and thinner than the other, but they are actually the same size. The way our brain perceives the descending edges make it seem like the box has stretched in depth. I tried it myself, and honestly I was like, what? Wow, it's fascinating. Our eyes can be tricked so easily. I could have just spent hours just experimenting with this one exhibit. And then this other illusion was called, I think, true delusion. It's all about size. Two curved shapes are actually identical, but when you look at them, one seems much bigger than the other. The fun part is that when you reverse their positions, the one that looks bigger suddenly changes. They even gives us a cutout to measure which shape was actually longer, and it was such an interesting hands-on activity. I loved how the Museum of Illusion made you see things in completely new ways. And yeah, next up there was this frame with a human head. It looked like it was only half a head at first, but when you look closely, the face seems to be looking straight at you. And here's the crazy part: from the exact same spot, another person standing next to you can see the face looking at the left instead. It's amazing how a perspective can completely change what you see. It looks like two people can have totally different experiences looking at the same frame, and yet it's exactly the same piece of art. Amazing. So next we entered this corner full of different lights. It felt like we had just stepped into a party. The colors were everywhere, shifting, glowing, and it was so much fun, like you just walking through it. My host mom joined me, and we couldn't help but smile at how playful and lively it all felt, even though it was a brief, and it was such a joyful little moment. I love that part. So next we stepped into this glass illusion, and wow, it was wild. You could see yourself reflected multiple times, almost like there were 20 of me all at once. And above us, there was this stunning piece hanging from the ceiling. It looked like a globe. It was so beautifully designed. We also found this area that looked like a well, but it wasn't filled with water. It felt more like a basement with a glass top, with a glass on top of it. When you look inside, there's a staircase going down, as you can see, and it looks so incredibly deep. There were lights inside the tunnel, as you can see, making it feel like you were stepping into, how will I say, another world. Honestly, it was mesmerizing. I could have stared at it for minutes, just imagining going all the way down. I feel like I should go inside that tunnel. I was curious to know what was down there. So after leaving the Museum of Illusions, we were on our way to Matthias Kirali, or how I think that's how it's called, the science part. And along the way, we caught a glimpse of this Bank of China. The building looked incredible, even from the car. So inside the science center, I spotted this frame of John Kepler. If you know him, he's the famous astronomer and mathematician who discovered the laws of planetary motion and helped us understand how planets orbit the sun. At the science center, there was this unusual basketball game, not the normal kind, you know. You had to use the force from a toenail. I know it sounds crazy, but that's how you control the ball and try to get it into the basket. Well, I gave it my best shot, trying to aim and win, but honestly, I couldn't do it, and eventually I gave up. It was hilarious, though. Look at how I was throwing. I couldn't stop laughing at how tricky it was. And here on the board, it explained how the ball works. You have to aim the airflow just right. The air follows the curved surface of the ball, creating a lift, and the pressure difference keeps the ball floating in the air. Basically, if you have the skill, you can guide it into the basket, but clearly, I didn't have the skill. I tried my best. I really did, but eventually I gave up. Still, it was so much fun just experimenting with it. Look at me now. So after the ball experiment, we came across this spinning wall on the exhibit. At first, it looked just black and white. But as you roll it and move closer, beautiful colors appeared. Blue, red, and more colors. It was so amazing. Even though the clip is short, it really caught my attention. And then we stepped out into nature. I love nature. Closer to the riverside, and wow, the scenery was breathtaking. It was peaceful and mysterious all at once. This is where our adventure continues, and trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. So up next is part 2, where I will show you the full details of our nature exploration. It was mysterious, it was fun, and full of surprises. See you in part 2. Bye bye.